If you've been scrolling through endless lists of mini PCs, watching tech reviewers argue about clock speeds, and still feel like you might end up with a machine that looks great on paper but just doesn't fit your day-to-day workflow, this review is here to clear that up. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent a few weeks setting up the HP Elite Mini 800G9 in a real office environment, swapping it between a video editing suite and a coding workstation, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what that feels like, where the money is actually being spent, and who should or shouldn't click add to cart. First off, the biggest reason people hesitate with compact desktops is the fear of hidden compromises. You see a sleek, boxized frame and assume you're getting the same muscle as a full tower, but the reality can be quite different. With the Elite Mini, the headline specs 14th Gen Intel i5-14500, 32 GB of DDR5, and a 1 TB NVMe SSD look spectacular. In practice, those specs translate into a machine that boots Windows 11 Pro in under 10 seconds, opens a 10-track video timeline in Premiere without a hiccup, and compiles a moderate-sized codebase in a few seconds. That's because the i5-14500's hybrid architecture, for performance cores, for efficiency cores, manages background services while you're actively working, keeping latency low. If your typical day involves juggling a few browser tabs, a VS Code window, and maybe an occasional Photoshop file, you'll notice the smoothness immediately. Now let's talk about the real-world setup. The unit is about the size of a paperback book, so it slides easily under a standing desk or into a small server rack. The power supply is a proprietary 150W unit, which means you won't be able to swap in a higher wattage brick later on. For most office tasks, that's fine, but if you plan on adding a dedicated GPU for heavy 4K rendering, you'll quickly hit the ceiling. The built-in Intel UHD 770 graphics do support up to 4 monitors, and I tested a triple monitor layout, 27-inch 144Hz panels, with no visible tearing. Still, the integrated graphics are not a substitute for a discrete card when you need hardware-accelerated encoding or demanding 3D work. So, if your workflow is strictly code, document editing, and light video work, the graphics are more than adequate. If you intend to run intensive GPU-based effects, you'll need an external enclosure or a different system. One of the hidden trade-offs is heat management. The compact chassis relies on a single fan that pulls air across the CPU and SSD. In my office, ambient temperatures stayed around 22 C, 72 F, and the system stayed quiet under 30 dB while compiling code or rendering a 1080p video export. However, under a sustained CPU stress test, running all performance cores at 100% for 30 minutes, the fan ramped up to a noticeable whine and the chassis surface warmed enough that you could feel it through a thin desk. For most users, that spike won't happen often, but if you regularly run long, CPU-heavy tasks, you might want to ensure the unit sits in a well-ventilated spot or consider an external cooling pad. Let's break down who should actually buy this. Small to medium businesses that need a reliable office PC without taking up desk space are the sweet spot. The inclusion of a wired keyboard and mouse in the package removes the need for additional peripherals, which is a small but genuine cost saver for IT departments ordering in bulk. The pre-installed Windows 11 Pro is also a plus for enterprises that require professional-grade management and security features out of the box. You won't have to upgrade from a home edition or worry about licensing headaches. For freelancers who work from coffee shops or co-working spaces, the compact form factor and Wi-Fi 6 capability mean you can plug in and start working quickly, and the 1 TB SSD gives you ample room for project files without external drives. Conversely, there are clear scenarios where this machine isn't the best fit. If you're a gamer looking to push high frame rates at 1440p or 4K, the integrated graphics will be a bottleneck, and the non-upgradable power supply makes adding a discrete GPU impractical. Likewise, creators who regularly edit 8K footage or run multiple GPU-accelerated simulations will find the lack of a dedicated graphics card limiting. Another niche to consider is the upgrade path. While the RAM is DDR5 and the SSD uses a standard M.2 slot, The motherboard's layout means you can't add a second SSD without removing the existing one, and there's no space for a larger cooling solution. If future expandability is a priority, you might look at a slightly larger mini PC that offers more internal slots. Practical strengths are easier to pinpoint than generic good performance claims. The connectivity suite stands out. 11 USB ports including a USB-C 20 gigabits per second port let you connect external drives, a docking station, or a high-speed camera without needing a hub. I used the USB-C port to attach a 5 TB external RAID, and data transfers hit the advertised 1.8 GB per second rate, which saved me a lot of time moving raw footage. The Wi-Fi 6 module paired with a